well, for obvious reasons, is very bad. So we'll just say thank you instead.
Hey, it's Damien Farrelly here. Thank you so much for listening. I would just like to show my deepest appreciation for your great taste in radio listening.
I just want to say thanks to you guys, the listeners, for choosing to listen to Classic Hits 4FM.
Hey, it's PJ and Jim here. Thank you so much for listening. Take it away, PJ.
You got it. PJ, will you stop the trumpet?
Classic Hits 4FM.
Niall Boylan at Night is controversial and confrontational and may cause offense to some. Listener discretion is advised.
The PPI award-winning Niall Boylan Show. Real people,
Real opinions.
real talk radio on Classic Hits 4FM.
It is very good evening. It's Niall Boylan with you right through to 1 a.m. in the morning. Interesting story coming out of Australia where 1 in 14 priests have had an accusation of child sexual abuse in an inquiry that's being held over what has happened over the last 30 or 40 years. They're kind of going through what we went through back in the 90s and the early part of 2000 with the Ryan report and all the different reports that came out at the time. And what's more interesting about it is this new discussion that's now opened up in Australia about the confession box. Again, a discussion that we had when we had the criminal justice bill back in 2012 that said anybody who knew that something or a child's life was in danger or a person's life was in danger and didn't report it was also open to prosecution or to be charged. And at the time, Cardinal Brady came out and said, the confession box is sacrosanct and we can't tell what happens in the confession box. The priests are not obliged to do that. Yes, they bloody are. By law, they're obliged to tell if a person's life is in danger or they know of a serious crime being committed. You are obliged by law. We have no respect for your sacrosanctity, or whatever you want to call it, anymore. Because this is what's now coming out in Australia. Should the confession box be sacrosanct and somehow have the law wavered for priests? We're going to be talking about that later on. And I know there are people listening tonight who are Christians who go, I want to kneel down in front of the priest and be able to tell him things and hope that he will never ever tell the police. Sorry, game is up. The game is up. If you know something, you have to tell. I don't care if you're a priest, a hooker, a stripper. It doesn't matter if... So you know something, the game is up. You imagine a guy going in going, Father, I've just raped a 9-year-old. Yeah, that's, 12 Hail Marys and 2 Our Fathers. That's a mortal sin, by the way. You do know that. And I think you should report that to the police. Now, in fairness, the priest will say that. I think you should report that to the police or to the Garda Síochána. And there was a bishop actually in the UK who said he wanted the law changed because he didn't believe that priests should keep that kind of thing a secret. We went through all those secrets, didn't we, 30 or 40 years ago? So I want to ask you, if you believe it should be sacrosanct, because there are Christians listening, and I know there are, who believe it should be sacrosanct. Maybe you think it is. Maybe you think that's the place you go, where the priest, you're able to tell him something in confidence, and he can give you advice, but, he doesn't go and tell the authorities himself. I know psychologists and doctors and everybody else have an obligation. They'll always say that to you, psychiatrists, when you go in to see him, a doctor. They'll say to you, by the way, if you do tell me, of any crime, or if anybody's life is in danger over what you're telling me, or a child's, safety is at risk, I do have an obligation to go to Garda Síochána. They will tell you that at the very start. A priest doesn't tell you that because maybe he wouldn't. He doesn't have any obligation to, it seems, according to Cardinal Brady a few years ago when he said the confession box is sacrosanct. We'll get around to that later on. Breaking the Seal of Confession. It's an interesting documentary, by the way, a couple of years ago about that, breaking the seal of confession. Also, I'm going to be honest, I hate the idea of injection centres. I really do. I hate the idea of even talking about it because it actually turns my stomach. In cities around the world where they've tried it, there has been some positive aspects to it, i.e. it keeps the dirty needles off the streets, etc., etc. But now the suggestion is, the government are pushing for this big time now. The first supervised injection centre should be open in Dublin City by October, according to the Minister for Communications and the National Drug Strategy, Catherine Byrne, and there will be other ones around the country as well. In some countries, they've seen a negative effect, where, well, depending on where it's located, in this particular case, probably in the city somewhere, they'll probably dump it, by the way, in some area which already has a high crime rate. That's what they normally do, and really piss everybody off in the local area. We'll get around to talking about that later on. Do you believe injection centres are actually a good idea, or do they just basically draw people who are on drugs over to them? But first, unemployment. Michael Noonan has been talking, and he's been saying, well, unemployment is down. Yeah, it's down to 7. It's almost at full employment. 7%, by the way, unemployment is at. 16% going back, 5 years ago. Drop of 9%. It's massive. You got to hand it to them. Now, a lot of people are on CEO courses or whatever courses they're on. Job Bridge, that's practically nearly gone, but there's still some people on Job Bridge. Other C schemes, they're counted as employed. But people are going to say that, but they're all on schemes. No, they're not all on schemes. There's about 10,000 people on schemes. That doesn't account for the drop of maybe 150,000 in the unemployment list. So, realistically, he is right. So, we started this conversation today. We only gave it 15 minutes because we didn't have long. We're heading towards full employment, according to Michael Noonan. He said, so it's heading... Well, I'll try and do Michael Noonan's voice. So it's heading towards full employment, and that's a very important thing in society. Of course it is, Michael. Realistically, we're never going to get full employment because even in the boom where we had a situation where you couldn't literally walk down the street and somebody would offer you a job back in 2004 to 2006, where we had full employment, there was still 6% of the population unemployed because there's always going to be 6% of wasters who will sit on their hole playing with themselves, watching Jeremy Kyle while they're collecting money off the state. That's always going to happen. 36,000 people or so in this country have never worked a day in their life and have no intention of ever doing it. So realistically, that's just the way that goes. Now, the line that there's no jobs out there is wearing thin. Let's be clear about it. But I want to know how thin it's wearing. And the question I asked simply today is, do you buy that line anymore? There's no jobs out there. So what's the point in looking, Niall? There's no jobs. Is the line wearing thin, or is that just a load of nonsense? Is there jobs if you actually try and get one? It rose on the air today. There's no jobs out there. I've been trying. I think it's ageism, Niall. It's ageism. But then, Rose then revealed to us that she had stopped applying for jobs because there was no point. And that's a kind of defeatist attitude, isn't it? So I want you to text 53544. The question simply is, do you believe the line, there's no jobs out there? Yes, you believe that line and you really believe there's no jobs out there, or you think that's just bullshit from lazy people who don't want to work. Text 53544. Do you believe there's no jobs out there? If you believe there's no jobs out there, text the word yes. If you believe there are jobs out there, text the word no to 53544. So yes or no to 53544. Do you believe there's no jobs out there? All right. Yes, you believe there's no jobs out there, or no, you believe there's loads of jobs out there. You can give us a call if you want to get involved in this. The number is 1850 410 494. That's 1850 410 494. I do believe, by the way, ageism exists. I do believe there are people that find it more difficult to get jobs because they'll be a little bit older. I think if you're between 20 and, say, 40, really, there's no excuse. Over 40, I think it's going to be harder for you to get a job, but not impossible. Emma, you're on Classic Kids. How you doing?
Hello.
Hi, Emma. You sound a bit fearful there at the moment, Emily. Are you a bit...
I was just listening away to you about the ageism part. I'm 22 myself, and I think a year and a half ago when I was applying for a job, I was told that I was too young for the position, even though at the time I was only 20.
What was the position?
Deli assistant.
A deli, and you were too young to be a deli assistant.
Yeah.
I've seen 18-year-old deli assistants.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's not like you need years of training to be a deli assistant.
Oh, no, apparently I did for this certain shop. So.
Oh, right. There's a way of holding the ham as you're sliding it into the roll, is there?
I say so, yeah.
Right, okay. And when was that, by the way, Emma?
That was only 2 years ago.
When was that?
I'd say a year and a half ago, around
a year and a half
August.
ago? Okay.
Yeah.
And are you still out of work?
No, actually, I've just been made unemployed.
Just fix your phone a little bit, Emma, there, because your phone is a bit dodgy.
Is that better?
That's a little bit better, yeah, okay. So you're working now?
I've just been made unemployed.
You're just what employed? So your phone is really bad.
Sorry. Is it better now?
I tell you what, I'm going to go to two. I'll get Helena to clear your line. Stay there, Emma, okay? Helena will pick you up. Tony, you're on Classic Kids. How you doing, Tony?
How you know? Love the show, mate.
Thanks very much, Tony. Are there jobs out there, or are there just lazy people? What is it?
Niall, the lazy people. I'm 45 years of age. I spoke to you before. I have Crohn's disease, right? And I've had 6 operations, and I'm only back to work now since October. So the longest I was ever unemployed was a year, because I was really sick. I went to 6 stone with Crohn's disease. I had to have a
and how are you now? How are you now, by the way?
I'm back to work since October. I was happy in October.
Okay.
About people not letting you use the toilet and stuff like that, with different bills and that.
Oh, I remember you telling me about that. That's right. Yeah.
How this discrimination is. Well, I am literally working since I was 7 years of age. My mum used to have to debate me into the house. I used to get out the window to deliver milk for £2.50 a week.
I think you're right, and I think it comes from your upbringing. I remember when I was 15 years of age, I was on a train out to Lambs to pick strawberries.
Yeah, done it all. Pick potatoes, pick strawberries, pick fucking gooseberries, tore the hands off me sitting in back.
Oh, the gooseberries are a nightmare, aren't they? Nightmare.
Absolutely. Wouldn't care. Mowed grass, made a fortune, didn't care. All to the few bob in my pocket.
So what do you say to these people? Well, there's no point in applying for a job. There's none out there.
But there's no job out there if you want to fly a fucking plane, you know what I mean? You have to have a degree to do it. You know what I mean? You know, but you have the degree, repair the hands, repair the bleeding feet, you can get out and you can shovel a shovel or you can fucking...
Sweep a road if you have to, yeah.
You can grass! I wouldn't care. If I had to sweep the streets tomorrow to make money for my kids, I would do it.
I said this to somebody on the air one night, they wouldn't believe me. I said, if I just scrape the shite off a toilet bowl with a toothbrush, I'd do it if I had to provide for my family. And by the way, I've done it. I haven't scraped the toilet off a toilet bowl, or the shite off a toilet bowl, but I have. I went out painting windows once.
Yeah, but I don't think... If you ask my missus about me and painting, she'd fucking say, listen, you're better off doing it yourself.
No, I'm no Leonardo da Vinci myself now, in fairness.
I only have to open the fucking cannons on me.
I'm the same. There'll be more paint on me than be on the window.
Yeah, I'm covered now. I don't have to open the cannons on me.
But I mean, is it... Okay, I think if you live in rural Ireland, it's probably a bit more difficult, is it?
But I live in North County, Balbriggan. I live in Balbriggan, 9 down the road from where you are there in Soward.
Right, okay.
I mean, I cycled to Soward, I cycled to Lusk, I cycled to Rush when I was a kid, picking potatoes for Torn, Bross and all them.
Yeah.
Ballyclockle, 5 roads. Cycled to all them places.
But anything has got to be better than 180 out on the dole. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, when in the early 80s now, we were getting 25p a 4-stone bag of potatoes.
Well, stay there. Just stay there. Well, do me a favour. Tony, stay there for a second, because Ger doesn't think there's jobs out there. Ger, you're on Classic Hits. How you doing, Ger?
How you doing? Jeez, you're awful posh, you know that.
Why? Picking strawberries?
No, it's picking the strawberries for you. You're just getting a train, because you know who got the horse and cart.
Ger, you're saying there's no jobs out there, that people are forced to leave the country?
No, what I'm trying to say is, don't forget, the figures that we have at the moment, if you brought all the immigrants that left the country back,
yeah,
it would be a lot higher.
But you also have to take into consideration as many people joined the country as left the country. You're not thinking about that. We have had a huge influx of people in the last 10 years into this country, which has certainly balanced out. Our population has gone up, not down. So that figure, that's a nonsense. I'm not having a go here, but that's a nonsense argument.
Well, no. We did send a lot of good qualified people away.
We did.
A whole lot.
And we took in a lot of unqualified people.
We took in a lot. But then when you go to the likes of the Chops Bridge, which is nearly finished, and all these courses and a whole lot, I think these people are down as workers.
But 64% of people, I think was the figure, got a job from JobBridge. JobBridge wasn't as bad as people made it out to be. Unfortunately, it wasn't very well regulated. That was the problem.
No, there was a few smart arses on
Absolutely, there was a few employers took real advantage of it.
Yeah.
I mean, we have Helena here, who's the producer of this show. She started in this radio station on JobBridge. And I'm not meaning to demean her in any way, shape or form, but she was brilliant. She made her position valuable, and when she finished on JobBridge, a couple of months had passed, the position came up, she was given it.
Well, that's great, and radio's not the easiest system to get into. I know that for a fact. But I'm just saying, okay, we have more people come into the country, and I don't think the figures are what I'd say.
Well, let's not argue and split hairs over how many people left or how many people joined the country. But you got to admit, a 9% drop in unemployment in 5 years. There's a few things that the government can be commended on, but that's certainly one of them, isn't it?
Well, if it was Fine Gael or Sinn Féin or Labour or Fianna Fáil, after you have a crash, things will pick up. Now, I don't see the pickup. That's one thing I've noticed.
Come on, I see it.
You see it because you're in the big smoke. Down. Once you go outside Dublin, there's rural areas that have been destroyed. Then when you come into even the likes of Galway City, Galway, we've had premises closed, shops gone, and
absolutely. I'm not denying that. A lot of small businesses went to the wall over the last 6 years. They barely struggled through the recession and just
come into this country. They're all working in the hospitality sector and everything. The Irish think that's beneath them to work in that. Make a bed in a hotel. Are you having a joke? I wouldn't make me own bed. My man does the money.
The Irish, Tony, the Irish find it very hard to work, you see.
But I mean, look, if we go back to the good times, Ger, when I worked in the club scene going back 10, 15 years ago, you know, the lads that were coming over from Africa were happy to work in the toilets of the nightclubs, in the jobs that the Irish fellas wouldn't take. Now, I'm not having a pop at them. Fair play to them. They made a fortune, by the way, because I know one of the lads that was working there, he was making a mint, particularly New Year's Eve with tips, right? The Irish wouldn't take those jobs. No. The Irish they won't work in the fast food restaurants. I'd say nearly half the hospitality industry are foreign. Because the Irish won't take the minimum wage jobs. They'd rather just sit in their hole and take the dole.
Well, they want the either high-end side of it or get your dole. And that's it. They won't work anywhere else.
No, so why would they? I mean, if you're married and getting $320 and a rent allowance, right, you're going to have to be getting a job worth maybe £600 or £700 a week to make it worth your while to get up off your hole.
Oh, yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong, if you got one with less, you'll get a family income supplement if you have got kids. But they're not going to do that. They're going to sit in their arse and say, why should I work for an extra £20 a week or £30 a week? Because they believe they're entitled to that money.
I know a few Irish people, they're on $250 a week because they want to work. It's nothing to do with the dole. They just want to keep working. They were on bigger incomes prior to the boom and the whole lot. And to be quite honest, I'm not on a big wage. I don't tend to be on a big wage. And it's a situation like Tony, like yourself. I want to work. And you said it, you know, the Irish, they just have this mentality of, I can't wash a toilet bowl.
Yeah, I'm not lowering myself to that. Sorry, let me just go back to Emma because I think I fixed her line again. Sorry, Emma, you still there?
I am.
Yeah, sorry about that. Tony's line is a bit noisy as well. I think he's flying along in a car about 100 miles an hour there. Working. Emma, okay, so you have a job. Let me get back to where we were. You have a job now, have you?
No, I've just been made unemployed.
Oh, and where don't tell me where you were working. What were you doing? I
was a barista.
A barista, making coffee?
Yeah.
Oh, they do courses on that. That's a kind of skilled job, isn't it? I believe they do courses on it anyway. Okay, so you're a barista, and is there no other barista jobs going anywhere?
There isn't actually, no. I've searched in my local area and there's no jobs going.
Okay, so how long are you out of work now?
I've been out of work for about a week so far.
Okay, that's not bad. That's okay. You're only getting to grips with the fact that you're out of work. Okay, so and do you think you'll be back in work soon? Is there jobs in your area? Have you seen some notices up staff wanted or?
No, I've searched every website. I've searched papers. There's no jobs, but I myself, I need to work mainly because I have fees to pay off for college. I don't get no supplement or nothing like that.
Okay, so you're still in college at the moment. Okay, so it's not essential you get a job until after you. What are you studying, by the way?
Social studies.
Okay.
Social worker.
All right. Okay. Good. Okay, but so it's not essential you get a job, but it would be great to help to pay the fees.
Yeah, but it would be essential for me to be able to pay the fees because I'm not able to get anything like back to education.
Right. Okay. And what about, are your parents still with us? Are they still around?
My mother has 3 dependent children.
Right, okay, so it's difficult for... And do you not qualify for a grant or something like that?
No.
So do you not get a Susie?
I don't get Susie, no.
How come? When your mother's got 3 dependents, is your mum working?
She's my brother's carer.
And so how come you're not getting a grant?
Oh, because there was a whole thing with my father. I've been estranged from him for the last 10 years. That I needed a letter to prove that he was no longer in my life. And when I couldn't get my hands on that letter, they said I couldn't get it. So
that's bizarre, isn't it? So in other words, your father is not supplying any money into the family, but yet they wouldn't believe that unless they had some sort of evidence of that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't plan to be able to work for too long, Emma. So you're looking for a part-time position, really, aren't you?
Basically, yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's not too... I mean, they are around. There is part-time positions around. Where are you living?
Limerick.
Okay. So are you near the city?
Sorry?
Are you near the city or are you the outskirts?
I am, yeah. I'm 5 minutes away.
All right, well then you should be able to grab something, shouldn't you? Sure. Like, would you work anywhere? Like, for example, if somebody said, will you work in a chipper or a fast food joint, would you do it?
I would, definitely. To me, a job is a job, but it depends on the sector, like. Mm-hmm. Because some people now, mainly the jobs that have been going, I've seen now they're for nursing and so they're full-time.
Skilled, yeah.
Skilled ones, yeah. Mm. And even I've a CTAC level 5 in childcare and I don't even have the full qualifications to work in a creche because they're looking for level 8.
But there's still, I mean, I know there's a lot of jobs in hospitality because I was only talking to a friend of mine recently, he works in a hotel, and he put an ad up looking for bar staff, I think it was at the time, and he said he finds it really difficult to get people to apply. And he said when they did apply, he said there was only 2 Irish out of the 36 people or something that applied. Only 2 Irish people applied. So he said, I'll give one of them an interview, seems they're Irish. He didn't want to be bad. And he had 4 interviews altogether. He gave one to the Irish fellow. The Irish fellow didn't turn up.
Really?
Didn't turn up.
Disgraceful.
Yeah, so they only had three foreign people turned up for the jobs, and he gave it to 2 of them.
I suppose in a sense they might be more willing to work, because I know that in countries like Poland and Germany and places like that, their money is kind of more of a high currency.
Yeah.
So I suppose to them it would be more like better off.
Irish money is worth more to them, than it is to us, I suppose, in some sense. If they're sending it home, particularly.
Basically, yeah.
All right, Emma. Okay, listen, thanks for that. Let me go to Ken. Ken, you're on Classic Hits. How you doing, Ken?
Oh, hi, Niall.
How are you doing, Ken? Okay, Ken, the line is, so what's the point in blind? There's no jobs out there. Did you buy it?
Tons of jobs. Absolutely tons of jobs out there. It's there are about 10 points I'd make going if I went through them.
Okay, go ahead.
As to how I arrived to the jobs. The first thing I will say is I agree with you totally about what you were saying previously about foreigners. And when foreigners come into Ireland, and I'm not talking about immigrants, I'm talking as in outside
European citizens. Yeah.
European people, yeah. And they're far more motivated to find work, far more prepared, and they get work immediately. I was up in Dante Pizza, and I was being waited on by an Italian chap. His friend had moved over last August. He's an accountant. He followed him, and they're living together in the same flat now. Mm-hmm. And he had a job in Dante Pizza up in Dundrum immediately. And so within August, this was Christmas, by the way, so August, September, October, November, December, these 2 Italians had set themselves up in Ireland, both with jobs. So when you see that, you say to yourself, well, obviously there's jobs there. One's a professional, and the other one's doing menial work. So you're into 2 different tiers. Now, there's definitely not this discussion. It's definitely in the low. We're talking about, I think, people in the lower tier. Lower, like I'm going down 50%. The higher tier of employment, where we're talking about people on wages of 40,000, 45,000, up to whatever you wish. It isn't really part of this. I don't think this conversation.
I think there's more jobs available in that tier. To be honest with you, when you're actually skilled.
Those people are prepared. You see, those people are prepared.
I mean, look, we can't get nurses, we can't get guards, we can't get doctors, we can't get skilled. You know, I know even the fire department, they were looking for people there a while ago. You can't get those people. You know what I mean? Because it's harder to get people into those kind of industries at the moment, even though they're high paying. Well, when I say high paying, reasonably well paid. You can't get people into them because we don't have.
Well, it is very strange because in other countries, even around Europe, it might be a language barrier. But I could guarantee you, if you set up a employment agency tomorrow in Italy recruiting nurses for Ireland, you would have as many Italian nurses as you wanted. Mm-hmm. Because the pay alone over here, it would be about 4 times the pay in Italy.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. But then again, in fairness, the cost of living over here is higher too. I
was helping out recently. This was because you were talking about that bridge thing. Now, that bridge thing I never knew about because that was probably when I was still outside of Ireland. I was brought in recently to give a kind of partake in a talk. And what's happening now is with the people on social welfare is that they're being made as such to attend meetings by this third-party company. Mm-hmm. Third party. They're called CTEC.
Okay.
SWTEC. Now,
before we go any further in the conversation, you're not going to say anything bad about them, are you?
Oh, absolutely not.
Okay, well, no, I was just going to dump the name if you did, but come on.
No. I'm trying to point out why there's work there and the help that's there for the Irish and non-Irish people. So what Intrio are doing now is, instead of, even though they give great help to unemployed people, Intrio also give they give the other service, which is back to business. This is for the self-employed. So they help you get back into self-employment with a range of advantages. You know, your
absolutely
taxes,
new skills,
helps. They give you everything. It's fantastic. But anyway, for just the simple person who wants to get a job, what's happened now is if you don't go to the meeting with C-Tech, which is an external company, they're all over Dublin now. You can go onto the website. And I went into this thing to give a talk, basically partake in the talk. And there was about 30, 40 people in the room. Now, it's fair enough. It was packed because if you don't turn up to the meeting, you get your social welfare cut.
Okay, good.
That's a good idea,
by the way. Go on.
It is very, very good.
Yeah.
But the main problem I saw within the room was people who they were saying it themselves. They weren't prepared. They'd no now C-Tech will do this all.
So they were just there because they had to be there.
Well, no, not particularly.
Yeah.
There was people there who wanted to be there, but they didn't have a CV. They didn't know how to do a CV. They were dressed not in a way. But
who? Honestly, who doesn't know how to do out a CV? There's templates.
Well, you'd be surprised.
But there's templates. All you got to do is go into Google. How do I do a CV? There's templates online and everything.
I know, yeah. But
unless you're tick.
But this help is now being given. At the moment, from Intrio to all the unemployed, and C-Tech, that you onto the website, serious company. They're all over Dublin now. And what they do then is they try and place you into work. They teach you how to dress. Well, they tell you.
Very important in society. Of course, it's important, Michael. I'm asking you the line. There are no jobs out there. Do you buy it? Yes, you do. You think it's true. Or no, you think it's absolute and utter bullshit. Text 53544 or call us on 1850 410 494. If you're under 25 and you've no dependents and you're out of work for a period of time, I mean a reasonably long period of time, I challenge you to come on the air and tell me why you're out of work.
Have you got an opinion? What's on your mind? Call 1850 410 494. Niall Boylan. Real Talk Radio.
Classic Hits 4FM.
PJ Gallagher and Jim McCabe in the morning.
Wake up happy with us on Monday morning from 6 when you could win a VIP spa treatment and an overnight stay with thanks to Vanilla Browns and the Absolute Hotel in Limerick.
And yeah, with Valentine's Day fast approaching, how would you like to be PJ Gallagher's blind date?
My Valentine's Day. I'm cacking me pants, Jim.
We'll tell you all about it Tuesday morning from 6.
Wake up happy.
On Classic Hits 4FM.
Now, where's that thing? Oh, yeah, yes. Now, update 75D on human cleverness testing. Professor Reginald here, guinea pig scientist.